Welcome to Transformations, straight talk about life, business, and spirituality. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me, and today we're going to be celebrating with Sherry. Sherry, I would love for you to share with us your beautiful name.
Hey Carly, hi.
Hi.
It's Sherry Richert Belul.
I did not want to mispronounce that beautiful name.
Thank you.
I just love, and one of the things I love about you is because you love to celebrate life. So I would love for you to share with everybody a little bit about your unique way how you do your business and that you love to share with people ways to celebrate life.
I do. It's actually my business, believe it or not, has grown out of a history of anxiety and depression. And I was lucky enough to have attended a meditation class about 20 years ago now, where I really got to experience single moments of no pain. And from those single moments of no pain, I realized that I could start seeking out special moments. And from there, I realized that I could actually create extraordinary moments. And so my business, Simply Celebrate, is really, it has grown out of a practice of moment to moment seeking joy and creating joy.
And the other thing I loved about one of your taglines is always creative and conscious gift giving as a spiritual path. And I don't know if you've seen some of my taglines, paying it forward and the ripple effect. I think the ripple effect and what I liked about your creative and conscious gift giving, to me, the ripple effect is the conscious gift giving. So can you share a little bit about what that is about?
Absolutely, and I love that too about you. I mean, right back at you. Yeah, it's fabulous. For me, this is also sort of grew out of that period of time where I was really battling this depression, and I realized that one of the ways through it was conscious gift giving. And to me, what the conscious gift giving is it's actually giving gifts that connect who I am to the person that I'm giving them to. So really, really sitting with who that person is and what might be a gift that would really deepen our relationship rather than, unfortunately, I think in our culture sometimes gifts have gotten associated with spending money or, particular material things. They can be great gifts, but I think that gift giving can be really a relationship building practice.
And what you said right there, I think is so beautiful because I think a lot of times, to me, that's the whole thing in the practice of paying it forward and the ripple effect. It doesn't necessarily, yes, if you have the means, and I think it's beautiful when people do monetary gifts as well. I do believe in tithing. However, I also think, like you said, the connection, it can be mentoring. It can be something as simple as giving someone a ride to the supermarket. It can be something as simple as leaving. I saw something on your website, like you in the actual video that you have on your landing page, where it can be putting a beautiful note in your son's or your daughter's lunch pail. It can be putting that little note in your husband's briefcase. I mean, it can be all those simple little things as well. And I also think it can be something even bigger if you can go there. So I love that. I love that. I loved your little video. It is those
Oh,
simple little things. It doesn't have to be something huge. It can be making a simple lunch for someone. There's so many beautiful ways to connect with people.
Carly, I love everything you're saying, and I think that the thing is that really the important piece, whether it's something that we're spending money on, or like you're saying, the sorts of things that don't cost money, but that the real piece is that we're present when we're doing it, so that we get filled with that joy, and then I think something kind of magical happens where the recipient actually can feel that presence, that they know that there was really a sense of someone thinking of them and really trying to connect. Back to that word. I think I always use that word so often because it's so much what I feel is a big part of it, is that connection. Just today, I got a voice note from a girlfriend, and it was like a gaily wrapped package because it was so. She was reflecting back something that she saw that was going on with me, and I was having something I was having a hard time with, and it was such a gift. And I think that was a perfect example. It was her. She was so present with me.
One of the things that was really resonating with you was, and again in your tagline it says creative and conscious gift giving. I was telling you I just created another show, and my new show is actually called Conscious Co-Creation, and that's for my radio show with Intention Radio. And I don't know, you've always seen my different taglines, there's different layerings. And one of the things I just actually did for a friend of mine is, I don't think, a lot of times we celebrate Mother's Day and Father's Day, right? And we celebrate our parents, right? And I think a wonderful new, I would love to see this actually happening more and more. We have Teachers Day where we celebrate the teachers and we celebrate Mother's and Father's Days. I would love to see us celebrating other people's parents. Because think about this.
That's
Imagine
great.
if, so actually what I just did yesterday, and I'm going to honor this person's privacy, however, imagine if we wrote notes to other people's parents telling them what a wonderful job they did raising that person's child. So yesterday I wrote a note to somebody and said to them, you know what, you did the most amazing job raising this person. And they did. This person is the most amazing human being, and they did a really amazing job. And so I literally wrote this letter yesterday, and it went in the mail today, and I can't wait till they get it. And I wish that more people did that, because you know what? When we're celebrating our mom and dad, we're kind of jaded because we're celebrating our mom and dad, and we're kind of expected to, because we have a culture of it's Mother's Day, it's Father's Day, it's Teachers Day. We bring the apple to the teachers. Well, what about like our best friend, right? And we have a different, we're the outsider, so we have a different point of view. We can actually see how that person's being raised, because let's say we're at our best friend's house all the time, right? And so we're seeing how that mom and dad has raised this person. So I think it would be an amazing thing to do, just to actually write notes to other people's parents and go, you know what? You've done an amazing job with this person. I'm going to write a blog post about that. I just think it's such an amazing thing. It would be just such an amazing thing to do for someone else. It just really touched me, and I felt so honored to do that, and I can't wait till they get it. It just brought such joy to my heart to do it.
I can hear it. This is the thing, right? This is exactly it. Like the energy and the excitement and the joy that you feel, and then the joy that the recipient gets to feel. It's just, that is so beautiful and original. And it reminds me, one of my all-time favorite gifts is what I call a love list.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simply, a list, a brainstorm, funny, sentimental, whatever, of things that you love about someone. And I, too, have started extending them to, like, people that I don't even know very well, like the mailman. You know what I mean? Like, just to just be able to reflect upon someone like that who's in your life, who actually, I happen to have a mailman who is just, he's always got a smile, he's always making a joke, and it's just to recognize these people. And
oh my God, you've got to read The Fred Factor. Have you read The Fred Factor?
No.
Mark Sanborn? Oh my God, okay. So Mark Sanborn is a brilliant author, and he actually wrote a book called The Fred Factor. And The Fred Factor is, he actually has a mailman called Fred, and it's actually teaching people that no matter what your title, you can be an exceptional person in that position. And he basically goes on to say how his mailman did an exceptional job being an exceptional mailman. I mean, went way and far beyond the duties of being a mailman. And actually, he just his actual mailman just retired. I don't remember. I mean, relatively not too long ago. And he actually just did another book following up on the Fred Factor. Fred Factor, I forget, 2.0, I think it's called. But anyways, you've got to read the book, because it's actually all about honoring all the other Freds out there. So just like what you're talking about, that list, you would love the book. And if you have not read The Go-Giver yet, you actually, The Go-Giver is by Bob Burg. And The Go-Giver is actually a fable. However, it's got 5 laws in there. These are books you'll knowing your personality and who you are, you would just love these books.
The Go-Giver.
I'll have to send you the list. I mean, there's some brilliant books out there by that whole circle of people that are just absolutely amazing.
That would be fabulous.
You'd love, I mean, The Fred Factor. You're just telling me this whole list about your mailman and everything. Oh my God, you got to read this book.
But I think that does bring it back to, like, so we were talking about conscious gift giving, and how it is a spiritual path. So I think the spiritual part of it is who we become in those moments where we're recognizing anybody in our lives, whether it's someone that is a close beloved person or an acquaintance, but that those moments when we're focusing on who they are to us and what we love, it's transforming. To me, in my own personal practice, that has been like one of the things that has probably the most transformed me, is watching what happens. You know, I tell this to people who might be depressed or feeling anxiety or fear, that if you sit down and focus on anybody in your life who brings you joy, who makes you smile, and watch what happens as you're just making a list of what it is about them, you can't help but feel that shift. It's just the way it works.
I'll give you another beautiful one. I do this with my clients all the time. I've actually had clients, I'll have them send me now this, even if you don't have children, you can actually do this with other people's pictures of other let's say you have a friend who's had a baby. So I'll start with, for example, someone who, if a client has children, I'll ask them to send me pictures of their children when they were born. And what I'll do is I'll make a collage for them of literally a collage of when their babies were born, and I'll send it back to them, and I'll tell them anytime they're feeling stressed, I want them to look at that picture. And what I'll do is I'll also have them upload it to their iPad, to their computer, and to their phone. So I don't care where they are when they're stressed, all they have to do is look at it. And I don't care who you are, if you look at a picture of a newborn, you're going to feel all warm and fuzzy. And if they don't have kids, I'll say, you know what? Ask any one of your friends that you're close to and have them give you a picture of their newborn. And I don't care who you are. If you look at a picture of a newborn, you're going to get warm and fuzzy. I mean, how can you not look at a newborn and not get warm and fuzzy? And another thing I tell people all the time is there's always someone somewhere that has it worse than you do. I don't care how bad you feel, how much pain you're in, what diagnosis you've been given. There's always somewhere, that you're down to your last penny. There's always someone somewhere that has it worse than you do. So we just have to kind of shift our perspective in that moment. I tell people all the time, jump up and down, sing, dance, scream it out, do whatever you have to. Just shift that perspective in that moment. Just do whatever you have to get out of that state. However, don't sit in that state.
I think you are so right, and I think that that's actually, for me, that's the simply part in it, that it doesn't have to take a lot of time or be really complicated, or, it can be as simple, like you're just saying. I know, a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever, but it's like, if you truly, go put on a piece of music that you love, or just go take a walk for 5 minutes, just like you said, do anything. It's amazing that you get that, oh, I do feel a little bit better. Oh, maybe now I'll, call my mom or my sister or whatever. And then it doesn't have to be big. I think that's the important thing. It can be so simple.
I think it's again, going back to, I just had a really amazing conversation with my good friend Manny. It's the moment when, okay, if you've been given, he went through something that was pretty traumatic. When you're in a really traumatic space, it literally is in that time frame when you're in that traumatic space, moment to moment to moment. So it is making those subtle shifts moment to moment to moment. And that's why a lot of times when I have clients like you're talking about anxiety and depression, I've been there. So it's kind of like when you're in those states that are so dark, you have to go from moment to moment to moment. And that's what a lot of people don't get. You can't take clients, and I get really frustrated with these blueprints and coaches and programs. Not all people are the same, and the problem with a lot of these programs and coaches is that they take a program and they chunk it, and they don't realize if you don't do an intake, you have to know your clients. If you have clients that have had any sort of abuse or trauma background, and you try and apply that to them, the same type of it's like you have to know your clients, and the same type of program isn't going to apply to everybody. And a client that's been really, really traumatized, when you tell them just do this, they're going to be like, what? Huh? With those type of clients, it is sometimes moment to moment to moment, because when they have a panic attack or when they go into crisis mode, their whole alarm bells go off. They go into freaked out mode, and just telling them to do this, they go into overwhelm, and there's no way in heck they're going to be able to, like, so they're like, whoa, huh, what? It's like, So it's like you have to take a program like that and chunk it down into such small little bites. And so it's like I have literally this really huge intake form just to really get, and I make it very clear to them, you have to be brutally honest with me and brutally honest with yourself. And you can't be embarrassed and you can't lie to me, because if you do, I can't help you and I don't want to be any part of this, because I'm being honest with you and I'm telling you my history, and if you can't tell me your history, I can't help you. Because if I don't know your triggers and then I go to help you and then I trigger you and put you into a Pandora's box that's going to blow you out of the water, and then it's kind of like, you go to the psychiatrist and then all of a sudden you get to a place and it's like, oops, your hour's up, and then you go into a freaked out mode. Like, I want nothing to do with it. I'm not here to help people and traumatize them. I don't want anything to do with that. I'm here to help, I'm here to help people. I'm here to inspire and empower people. I'm here to help people get to the next place. I'm not here to traumatize people. I want nothing to do with that.
Oh, Carly, that's so beautiful. I mean, I think, it's just my own belief, too, that it's like for all of us, no matter where we are, that moment-to-moment living is what really works, because it's what keeps us really, truly present with whoever's in front of us, and with whatever's in front of us. And also that it's like, it makes it so doable. Like, if all I have to do right now in this one moment is just find anything that brings me a little joy, that seems like that's doable. If someone said, hey, create an extraordinary life, it's like, whoa, what are you talking about? But it's like, I've seen in my own life that it's like when you string together in one day, if I've had 4 or 5 extraordinary moments, it feels like this amazing day. And then, take that out to the week and to the month and to the year, and it's like a string of beautiful, like, holiday lights or something.
Again, that's another thing I love about you, is that you get that. And again, that's another reason why, again, the whole thing about goals and outcomes. When you take certain clients and you tell them you need to give me goals, 3 months, 6 months, a year, it freaks them out. Versus if you give them moments or smaller chunk down things, they can see what you're just talking about. It's like little pearls strung together.
Yes.
If you tell certain clients, and that's the thing people don't get about making people give them all these huge goals, then they wind up doing things to self-sabotage themselves. Certain clients, you have to, again, going back to, you have to know your clients. You have to know the triggers. You have to know the personalities. Certain clients you can't do that with. You have to give them such small little pearls, like you said, those little chains, I call them pearls,
yes,
so that they can see the little outcomes. If they can see the little pearls and the outcomes, I don't even use the word the goals, because the word goals for some people freaks them out to no end. So it's just like, okay, let's just work on these little outcomes, these little pearls, these strings, right? And I can see that, and then they're like, oh, wow, okay, I can see these. I can start seeing the outcomes. And they're like, and they start seeing the outcomes, and then as they see, then we can work on some more, and then we can work on some more. I don't even touch the word goals, because I've seen too many people sabotage themselves because the word goals literally freaks them out. Because as a kid, the teachers and the grades, they were the type of kid that when they had to go take a test, they would study and study and study, and if you quiz them at home, they know all the answers. Then they'd get to school, and you put the piece of paper in front of them, and all the answers would be gone. Those types of kids, I would never mention the word goal to, because they literally would be frozen in time. So for those types of people, I would never use that word. I would use outcomes and do what you're talking about. It's moment to moment to moment things. So it's like, again, knowing your people. It's just that's why I love. When Corey told me about it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be so much fun talking to you, because she gets it. She gets it. I love this.
Me too. I'm just feeling like, because what you were just saying just excited me so much too, because not only, when you put that word goal in there, it's like life is over here. When you get there, rather than, to me, I always use this phrase, the payoff is in the moment. So it's like, if I'm, wanting to learn how to ride a bike, and the goal is actually riding the bike, I miss that whole bit of fun in the whole process of learning.
The journey.
Exactly.
See, that's why it's like people fight me all the time. I actually did a whole show about the words. See, what people don't get, a lot of words, a lot of people are like, you're so anal about words. I go, to a lot of people, it's semantics. wording. However, if people actually knew the nuances of words like try, but, could've, should've, would've, it's like if we actually listen to what we say and the words and we actually tweak them, they would be amazed at the difference in their world. And so, I mean, I've done so many different shows on just words, and they're like, I get fought on all the time about the word goal. It's so funny. But it's true. The journey, we miss out on the journey, the bike riding. It's like the whole journey of the bike riding. Like,
and that is exactly. And also, like, I mean, and that's the same thing with me, like with my clients. Like, one of the things I love to do is celebrate all along the way, right? I mean, because oftentimes, if they do it at all, I mean, oftentimes people just roll right over the celebration part, right? They're like, okay, did that, what's next? But, you know, when you start celebrating each of those, like we do with children, you know, when you have a toddler, and we're like, yeah, you stood up.
Every time they get up and walk, we're like, yay! You know, they can fall down, they get back up, yay! You know?
I mean, if we did that more with ourselves and the people around us, can you imagine? Like, to me, that's the celebration. It's not waiting until we get to that, whatever that goal, like you said. I'm right with you on the language. I think it's so important.
And the other thing, the reason I was so excited to talk to you about you is like one of I always call them trilogy words, learn, play, and grow, is that when I went around interviewing, I went around interviewing a bunch of people, and one of my trilogy words was, learn, what is your definition of learning, playing, and growing? And I was fascinated because a lot of the adults got stuck on the word playing. They could totally say what learning, they would go, well, learning is this, and then we grow, and then when they got to the playing part, they were stuck. Because they were adults, and they were like, well, playing? Like, well, I'm an adult now. I don't play, everything. And it was really fascinating it was just, and then when I asked them about creative conscious co-creation, they were like, creative, conscious, co-creation. It's kind of fascinating because as our world has evolved, it's like, creativity, being in consciousness, co-creation is creating with others, we energy. It's just really fascinating, just the way we're evolving and the collaboration energy and the creativity, and yet they will still get stuck on words and the semantics. So it's been I've been doing a lot of interviews about consciousness and we collaboration and development and psychology. So it's been really fascinating. And that's why finally I created the other channel, because I wanted the 4 kind of levels of consciousness. So one channel is is more just business oriented, and one channel is just social we media. So all of them have we in them, so it's kind of like social we. So however, it's just social media. However, it still has the we energy, and one's conscious business collaboration, but it's all business, right? And then I have transformations, this one here, but it's still kind of middle ground consciousness. And then I created the creative co-creations, which is going to be the real deep consciousness, so it's going to be where I can really kind of get into my fun. You can't really talk to, a lot of people, you can't go there. So, and I really wanted to be able to go there again. I missed being able to have those conversations. And then you have to have a certain audience for that, And so I'm really looking forward to playing on that channel. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then on that channel, I'm going to have you back, because we're going to have a lot of fun there.
Well, just speaking of, I just want to reflect you, too, like, just who you are. I mean, I'm projecting, but it seems like a lot of fun now, right now, here where you are, right? And it's like, I think that's one of the things is it's like I'm so appreciative of people's energy, and I just wanted to say, like, isn't that another gift? Like right now for me, no matter how I was feeling before I got right here, now I'm with someone who's like giving me this gift, her energy, her joy, her laughter. Like, I think we all have to realize, like, that is so important, We might just sort of like, oh, yeah, whatever, but it's so important. Like who you're being right now, it is a gift.
Well, no, exactly. Well, why do I say no? You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, it's kind of like, that's interesting. I didn't really receive that. I just noticed that. Thank you. So what you were saying is exactly. So when we're in a space, when it's kind of like what I was just saying earlier about I didn't actually say this about the environment. When I was saying jumping up and down and seeing whatever, you and I having this interaction actually can elevate. So when we are down or suppressed, that phone call or that engagement is the elevation or is the gift. And it was really fascinating that I chose not to receive that in that moment. Interesting. Thank you
Oh,
for that.
I
That
mean,
was when I did the no, when I did the double negation,
yes.
that was me, for whatever reason, not receiving that in that moment.
I'm so glad you stopped to say that, and
And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, again, we as people need to, it's kind of like we do these exercises where I teach a lot of platforms and presentations, and we'll get people standing on stage, and literally, like, we'll have an audience of like 500 people, and you just stand there and you receive the people clapping, so you can actually, and a lot of times people start to bawl because it's so overwhelming to feel all that energy and love. I mean, it really is. I mean, it can be very overwhelming, and we don't. A lot of times, it's very hard to receive thank yous. We don't. I say thank you to all the time to people. However, I do have a tendency not to receive thank yous. I'm very good at giving thank yous. I'm amazing at empowering, inspiring others, and I love to give and give and give and say thank yous. However, just because of my own background sometimes, I have a tendency to not receive thank yous. So I'm and I've been working on that. I've been really working on receiving thank yous. And so thank you so much for that gift, because it was like made me realize in that moment I was not receiving your thank you. So thank you for that.
This is so wonderful too, because what I wanted to say, I am one of the things I think you may know, I create these one-of-a-kind books for occasions. So if it were your birthday, maybe 20 or 30 people would tell you what they love about you, their favorite stories, what they've learned from you. And one of the fascinating things is that all the participants feel so much joy, right? I mean, everybody, it's like I can, I'm joyful, the people who are participating are joyful. And oftentimes, the recipient of the gift, it takes a while to let it in. I can't tell you the number of times people have said, I could only read one page at a time because it was so much love. And to me, that's one of the, I mean, I love hearing that because I feel like we all need to learn to let it in, just like you're just saying, that it's, first of all, it's being willing to give these kinds of gifts that really express our love, but then it's also learning how to receive them. How to just stand there and be like, wow, okay, yeah, I got it,
Yeah, it's so important. And again, I mean, even me, I mean, I'm not really good at being vulnerable. It's like this one of the things because I have a lot. It's kind of interesting. Again, it's one of the things. I always make one thing I want to make really clear. I think it's really important as coaches and as mentors to be really honest with your clients. Obviously, we are people. Even though we're coaches and we have clients, we are still really people. And I am always very honest with my clients. It's like, yes, we do have bad days. Yeah, sometimes we do get thrown curveballs. And the wonderful, beautiful things, even when I do these shows, if I do an error, or if I do say the word, I always usually spell out TRY or BUT. The funny part is, if I do say those words in the moment or in an interview, I will immediately change it with, or I will immediately catch myself in the moment and say it. Or like even in this conversation, I caught myself in that moment not receiving or accepting, and and here I am humbly saying, my God, I didn't receive that in that moment. I think that is so important to be vulnerable and let your guard down and go, you know what, I did do something that I think that's important to say. Hey, I caught myself in that. I think in doing that, we teach our clients and ourselves that we are human and that we are growing and that we're not perfect. And I think that's so important because I think too many people put on these faces, or that we're attempting that we're better than, or that we're perfect or whatever. We're not. I mean, we're always going to evolve. We're always going to change. And that is why, I mean, I've been called a guru. I've been called an expert. As a matter of fact, on one of the TV shows, I was the spiritual fitness guru, blah, 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 blah. The point is, if you look at any of my literature, and I never use those titles, ever, 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 because you know what? There's always going to be someone that knows more than I. There's always going to be, and that's great, because obviously there's always new books coming out, there's always new technologies that are coming out, and you know what? That's who I'm learning from. I'm always learning, I'm always evolving, I'm always studying, and I love that about life. And I don't want to be considered any of that. You know what I mean? So I'm always humbled by life. I'm always humbled by other people, so.
Well, and the other thing that I want to point out that I think you just modeled for all of us is also that concept of redo. That it's like we can in the moment, and this is one of the things that I take such refuge in, so I say something and then I'm like, Oh, no, 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 no. Can we rewind that? What I really wanted to say to you and what I really feel is this, because oftentimes like there might be one aspect of us who sort of just takes charge and says something or does something, but then we always have that ability, like you just did, to say like, hey, wait a minute, let's stop this and I want to redo, you know?
Well, we've all had our little 2-year-old come out and have a tantrum. And I don't care who we are, how old we are, our little inner child at some point in time has had their little 2-year-old tantrum come out. I don't care. Everyone's had that moment. So, I mean, that's just life. It's going to come out. I think we've all had that moment. So,
and to me,
anyways.
that's one of the fun things, too. Like when you talk about celebrating, and, this is one of the things that's so important to me, too, is that to me, the word celebration is a word that I'm actually trying to redefine in some ways, too. That it's like, like when we were talking about depression or illness, I was recently had a really bad cold. And one of the things that I did was I got some eucalyptus, which I love, and just had a really hot bath and a book that I loved. And to me, even though I was really sick and it was not, joyful in that way, there was such a sense of celebration in that moment of like doing these things that really cared for me and that felt so compassionate. And for me, that's like one of the things I think also we need to look at is these whole range of human emotions that we can actually celebrate, because it's like you just said, that all of these things are a part of us. They're going to come out.
Exactly. And I think that a lot of times we attempt to deny those aspects of ourselves. And I think that's actually worse to do than just accepting all of you in that moment. If you are sick, allow yourself a little bit of sympathy in that moment. I mean, I'm not saying wallow in it. I mean, there's nothing worse than when you're sick to, just go into that whole victim mode and just wallow in it. I mean, that's not going to help at all. I mean, in the days of my serious fitness days, I would go to the gym when I had a cold. And actually, the funny part is that I actually would feel better. I would just get on the elliptical, and I would bring a book and put my headphones in, the music in, and I would just, go at it. Now, so I mean, or I would go for a walk. I mean, I maybe wouldn't work out as hard as I normally would. I would still go. So the point is, honor the fact that you are sick. I mean, just don't wallow in it. It's like, everyone knows the story about me doing an interview after my knee surgery while I was in the hospital in the courtyard. So my point is, it's like you have to figure out, honor your commitments, or if you're not, don't honor them. I mean, you have to make a choice, and, don't wallow in it, and do something that's going to bring joy to you, even in the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point. You have to find, no matter what you're going through, you need to find joy in it. You could have a diagnosis that isn't pretty. You could, I tend to, I don't know what it is. Actually, I kind of do know what it is. Because of my medical background, you'll actually appreciate the story, because I know you were talking a little about depression and anxiety. My background is a lot of medical, and then my other background, simultaneously is a lot of business because of my father's background. Anyways, so the odd part is most of my clients come to me for business. However, unconsciously, they have medical stuff going on too, but they don't tell me that. Wow. However, intuitively, I know that. So that kind of comes out. So it's kind of always kind of funny that my clients come to me for business. However, they wind up not knowing that I have a medical background initially. Like they kind of know that for my bio. However, they don't come to me for that because they know my other bio's business, and I'm brilliant at that. So it always turns out that they hire me for business. Then next thing I know, I become their business / medical, / consultant. It's just really funny. And, obviously I know they're drawn to me for that because I know a lot about that. So it's just funny. It always turns out to be where it's both.
Yeah.
So it's just always humorous. So that's why I was really humorous with my post today. I posted a post. My friend posted a post. I am posting telepathically today. If you, oh wait, hold on, I gotta find this for you. I was laughing so hard when I saw this. Did you see it?
Yes, and you had me cracking up. I think it said if something if you felt good or something funny happened, that was me. Or what was it?
Well, my friend, well, you'll laugh at this. So my friend Nicolette posted it, right? And she goes, so I posted, oh my God, I so love this.
Oh, Carly, I lost you.
This is so me. Oh my God, how did you know that? Oh my God, how did you know that? Oh my God, how did you know that? They're always telling me that. How did you know that? How did you know that? I'm like, it's just the way it is. So, yeah, it is the way it is.
And so I lost you for just a minute. So now you're back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I bounced out.
You bounced out. That's all right.
I was just saying, I always laugh because my clients are always saying, how did you know that? How did you know that? I'm like, it's just the way it is.
Oh, right.
I was psychopathically talking to you. It's just the way it is. So it's just a joke. So when I saw that, that's why I was laughing, because it's an unspoken joke with my clients. So that's why I was laughing when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect.
I love that. And I think that just speaks again to your connection. You know what I mean? Like I think when I'm speaking to you, you're so present that it's like things like that happen, don't they?
Well, here's the thing though, and I had this conversation with Manny yesterday at my other interview. Bottom line is we're all psychic. We're all connected. The only difference between me and you is I've worked at developing it. And it's like, here's the thing. We're all interconnected, whether you believe it, I believe it, whether anyone else believes it, whether I believe in energy, whether you believe in energy. I don't care what spectrum of belief anyone's in. There's energy, bottom line. We're all psychic, bottom line. We all are telepathically talking, bottom line. It's no different than how many times you've thought of someone and all of a sudden the phone rings, or you've thought about someone and you've gotten an email, or you've thought of something and all of a sudden your boss says, hey, what do you think of this? Or you've thought about something and the next thing you know, that's happening. Or you thought about something and go, oh my God, that's deja vu. Or you thought about, it happens all the time. Nonstop. It's just that some people are more conscious about it than others. Some people have actually studied it. Some people have went and actually studied to develop it. It's just that we're all at different levels. Doesn't mean that we're all not psychic. It just means some people have developed it more than others. That's all it is.
I love it, and I think, like, to me, what this is bringing us back to, back to the whole, like, conscious gift giving piece, is that I think that's where it comes from. It comes from that place of really, again, being conscious about our energy and knowing that we really are connected. And I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but so many people I talk to where you've received a gift, and no matter how nice it is, it just feels flat, almost like, somebody was just like, oh yeah, I need a gift, let me go get it. I feel like people can feel that, whereas sometimes, like, I've had someone bring me a flower or something so simple, but it's just imbued with energy and spirit and love. Like, it's almost like glowing. And to me, that's that interconnectedness, like that energy is literally getting passed on.
Absolutely. It's no different than when you shake someone's hand or you meet someone for the very first time, you instantly love them or hate them and you have no idea why. It is. It's that energy. It's like a lot of people meet me and go, oh my God, she's on speed. She's way too hyper. She's got way too much energy. What the hell is wrong with this chick? I want nothing to do with her. I have always been very positive. I've always had a lot of energy. Yes, I do have a little, anyway, I've always been this way. So anyways, I can't change that.
But I think for people, I think the important piece of that is, I don't know, I'm not always like naturally like that, but I think that over the years, I've really come to understand, again, that we can change our energy levels, and that when we're with people, we can make conscious choices of what we want to bring. And again, I go back to, like Christmas is a holiday that oftentimes for people may fall flat with families, like you often hear of some, and my family, one of the things that happens is we're not real focused on the gifts, but there's a real focus on when people get there, they are there. There's this like sense of really being present with one another, and that brings it to life in such a way that maybe everybody wasn't feeling that way. I mean, maybe people may have been feeling a little like, dragging down or whatever, but there's this consciousness about we're all here. Let's be here. And I think that there's a way in which bringing consciousness back to it is so important. That it's a conscious act.
It is. It's very, very important. Anyways, I think you and I could talk forever. However, I am going to let us go for today because otherwise, we could just go on forever. Anyways, as always, I am so delighted to always bring you wonderful content, and as always, I will be bringing you a link with a wonderful page with an embedded video and an embedded podcast. So we love feedback, so be sure to leave us some, and if there's any particular topic you'd love to hear about, we would love to know. So I leave you for tonight, and I look forward to connecting with you guys later. Have a wonderful night, everybody.